Today I'm going to obviously do a painting. These are acrylics. Add a little bit of flow medium to each color. That'll give me a little bit more time with them. I'm gonna try to stop saying and all the time because it makes editing so much more difficult. No idea what I'm doing here. If you watched the last video, you know that the process that I use is not to have a plan. This is just free flow off the top of your head, letting emotion and feeling guide the way. So what I'm going to start with, I got a little bit of yellow in here, but that'll be all right. I'm just going to throw down some blue with a little bit of white. I'm just going to mix it right on the canvas. There's a touch of yellow in here. That was not purposeful. That was an accident. Obviously, I'll add some greens in there somewhere, but who really cares? Like I said, this is just free flow organic shit. So we're not concerned with, how it's supposed to look. All we're doing is creating whatever. Something that feels right. Gonna lighten that up a little bit. That was a little dark. Just adding in some white, mixing it right on the canvas. It's got a little bit of flow medium in it, so it won't dry as quickly as just straight acrylic will. So if you don't like acrylics because you feel pressed for time, you might want to invest in flow medium. Bob Ross would always tell you to do a little excess, which is hard to do when the painting's laying on the table, which is how I'm doing it today. I do have easels. I normally use them, but for filming purposes, because I am underprepared as usual, and I'm doing this a day later than I wanted to. I'm just gonna do it directly on the table, just for the sake of filming. All right, so now that I got colors in with the big brush, I'm going to just assume that that's the skyline. I'm gonna take the smaller brush, and I'm just gonna drop in, some dark areas. Again, mixing that flow medium in a little bit. Give me a little bit more time with these. Not really paying attention to any detail, just kind of blotching in some dark areas. And for some reason, when I'm doing these, I tend to leave the center a little more vacant than the outsides. So I'll usually have like a U-shaped tip. So today I am actively going to counteract that by forcing this to be slightly asymmetrical. Just go with what feels right to you. If you like symmetry, go ahead and make yours symmetrical. I am not concerned with that today because, like I said, I'm purposely forcing myself to be asymmetrical today. And I'm going to come up maybe that high there. That'll work. No. I'm not using any technique here. I'm just bouncing my brush, making some areas of deeper saturation, some areas of lighter saturation. Then when I come back in later, I will just use that extra for whatever. I'm not really sure what I'm doing yet. I'll fill it at some point. And so will you. So don't worry about that. Just right now we're just blocking in some darks anyway. So do whatever you want to. I'm gonna leave the bottom here a little bit lighter, so I'm just gonna drop in some white. And of course I would recommend that you put something down underneath yours. This table I got at a thrift store for like $5. It needs to be resurfaced anyway. You saw in all the previous videos that it's a little rough, so I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna let the paint get on it because, again, it needs to be sanded anyway and resurfaced. So I've had it for a while. My original intent was to repurpose it and donate it back, but I have not done that yet, but I will get there. Maybe that'll be one of these videos, who knows. All right, so these are gonna be our dark areas, so we don't wanna make them too light. To me, that feels good. Just gonna give that a little bit more shape there. Using kind of a modified Bob Ross style. I do love Bob Ross. I grew up with only 3 channels, television stations specifically is what I mean by that, in the country, antenna days. So we did not get a lot of stations, and one of the stations that we did get was obviously public broadcasting. So watched a lot of Bob Ross. Really love watching Bob Ross. He's just kind of this weird, soft-spoken guy, and one too many buttons open, gold chain sometimes. He'd just come out there and stand in front of his little easel and create magic. But he was creating magic and empowering his audience at the same time, which I thought was, as an adult, I didn't think this is his job, but as an adult, I think it's really cool. The mistakes are things that can be overcome. They can be things that you work with to make something beautiful. If you don't like the way something looks, you can change it. It's your world. That's very empowering. It's your world. You can make it how you want. So big ups to Bob Ross. I still watch occasionally, not as much as I used to, but I do less drugs now, so that's probably why. All right, so we got something going on. I'm feeling green. Let's do some greens. I'm gonna lighten this up because it's just so green. I'm gonna lighten it. It's thick like snot. And I also add some yellow in there. Everything's thick. I haven't used these paints in a while, so they're kind of gloopy. There we go. Just a little blue. Needs to be a little bit darker. And I don't want to add black just yet because it'll come off the canvas. There we go. That's reasonable. I can work with that. Alright, so let's see here. Just gonna let this paint come down, work this edge. I live in the southeast, so our hills tend to be covered with trees and grass and moss and all kinds of nice little green things. Bob Ross was stationed in Alaska when he was in the military, so he fell in love with all the white top mountains. I have been to Colorado, but not Alaska. I've been to Colorado, and you know, mountains are big, but they're beautiful. I'm not saying anything. I really like the state of Colorado. It was very pretty. But like natural structures are fractalizations, right? So they follow fractal patterns, especially when rock is uplifted and breaks. So there's really not a lot of difference structurally in what a snow-capped mountain and what a 1,000, 2,000. We have I think our highest peak is 2,700 feet. So structurally, it's just a miniature version of those without the snow on top. Personally, I preferred ours. I drove to the top of Pikes Peak. Absolutely terrifying ascent. Whoever created that road was a sadist, and my butt was puckered the entire time. But it was very, very beautiful once you got up there, but also freezing cold. Like we couldn't go all the way we couldn't drive all the way to the top because snowpack. So we had to walk probably a few hundred feet, and it was freezing. All right, I don't know how well you can see that on camera. Let me take a look. Yeah, it's a little glossy. I'm gonna try to tilt it a little bit. That's what we're working with so far. I'm kind of liking that. I'm just gonna leave that green there for now, and then come down with some other colors, because honestly, I'm bored with green. So, switch brush while that one does its thing. I'm not choosing any brush for any particular reason at this point. I know I do paint traditionally, so like I do utilize the brushes for their intended use. But today is just kind of a freeform sort of thing. And that's how I'm gonna utilize these brushes. In the same way, I'm just using them because they're clean, not because they have a different look or anything. Now, right now, I might later. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. All right, we'll throw some red in there. And again, we'll just kind of throw it down, see what happens. Apologize for speaking so quietly. We'll just throw it down and see what happens. There's some white in there, a little bit of that blue that I'm picking up. Kind of make it purple. Just keep picking that up. That's fine. Kind of liking that red. Let's get some yellow. Also, see if we can brighten it up, make some orange. Orange is one of my favorite colors. I don't wear it because I don't look very good in it, honestly. But it is very pretty to look at. It makes beautiful flowers, beautiful sunsets. And you may be looking at this now and thinking to yourself, oh my God, that's hideous. And, you know, it is probably, honestly. But it doesn't matter because we're not here to make it look good. We're just here to make it. And, you know, one of these videos, sooner or later, I'll sit down and I'll be serious about it. And I'll take my time and I'll make it look beautiful. Make it look artsy, like what's expected. Look how thick that is. Disgusting. Because again, I can do traditional things. I do realism. I do study realism for a while in my drawings. I've done it in paintings. It's not what I lean towards. I feel like if you're interested in realism, if you want something to look like a photograph, then just take a photograph. But if you're doing something like this, and this is just my opinion, because I do love the skill demonstrated by those who do realism, photorealism, and even like the more realistic. Some people do like a cartoony realism, which I really like, but again, it's not something I gravitate towards. I'm here for free expression right now, and that is how I'm approaching this. Just throwing in some things, however that feels. I don't know why I'm creating this divide between the red and the yellow, but kind of digging it, so I'm just going to keep on going. Add a little bit of white here, lighten this bottom. Yeah, there we go. Now I've got something going. Grab some more of that yellow, a little orange here, sneak in some of that red over here. This light is really making it difficult to see because it's cool, making everything glossy and glary. See if you can see that. Yeah, it's kind of pretty actually. Okay, I'm okay with this. Let's switch brushes. Let's switch techniques. How about that? Let's throw in a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. We're just gonna come in here. We're just gonna break that on there. See what happens. That's that Bob Ross snow technique. Just some hair and a little bit of air. I'm not that serious, but I'm just, for some reason, Bob Ross has been on my mind a lot the last few days. I guess because the last few of these videos that I've done have all turned into art videos, which is something that I said that this was not going to be. And I stand by that. This channel's going to be whatever it's going to be. I don't know who y'all watch on YouTube, but there are a couple people that I like to watch pretty regularly. One is Tyler Tube. He just kind of does a little bit of whatever. Sometimes he blows stuff up. Sometimes he makes things fly. Sometimes he just takes every type of Pringle that exists. And like, I kind of like that, like just that free form. Like, he's making videos because he enjoys making videos. And if you enjoy watching what he makes, then he appreciates it. But that's so thick. If I can scrape down to get a little bit more of that. Scrape down to get a little bit more of that underneath the stuff. There we go. All right. I pulled out so much white. Might as well use a little bit of it. Kind of like it in this area. Just drop a little bit of it in here. Just gonna work it down. There we go. And you're probably saying to yourself, what the hell is he making? And to that I say, I don't know, you don't know, the paint doesn't know, and that's okay. It doesn't have to. I'm doing like candy stripe thing. I don't know what the hell's happening. I like the way that caught right there on that green. That's interesting. All right, let's switch back to this round. It's got a little bit of red in it, but that's all right. I super loaded these brushes up today for whatever reason. Start to create a little bit of texture here. Get some directional flow here. Make it look like something. And then we'll change direction slightly. Give it a fall off of some sort. There we go. Yeah, I think I see it starting to develop. So what we're gonna do is we're going to wallow out this, give it some direction. And we're gonna do the same on the other side. I'm trying to avoid the blue as best as possible, but we're gonna bring this straight down to form a bowl. Really bring it down. There we go. Bring some of that yellow in there. I kind of want to leave that yellow. I like it. There. And yeah, now we got some yellow. Grab a little bit more of that white. Keep on that trend right there at the bottom, making this flattened out. There we go. Bring that side in. A little bit of overlap, almost like a little rock slide here. Carry that up there. I think I want to darken that there. A little bit of black, a little bit of blue. This section right here, a little bit darker. Let's get darker. Again, I'm just mixing directly on the canvas, which is allowed if that's what you're into. And if you're not, you can mix. I didn't bring my flat palette. Probably a mistake, but again, loosey-goosey, not that serious. The goal, my goal, if I have any, is just to provide some entertainment to you, number one, but also to just enjoy this myself. So this is something that I do in my free time for my own enjoyment generally. And since I was doing it anyway, I decided to record it because I know I get a kick out of other people's videos when they do their own thing and just kind of record it. There's another YouTuber called Atomic Shrimp, who is a older gentleman out of England, and he just makes videos of random things. Sometimes it's just him and his dog collecting fossils on the seashore. Sometimes it's him tasting different canned things, random weird stuff. He's got a pretty interesting accent and nice way of using words that I enjoy. Part of that's just the Britishism, right? Like, they have their own idioms, their own little phrases for things that have evolved over the centuries in different portions. And you know, I live in the South, so we kind of have that same thing going on. I know that it's kind of oversaturated in the world right now, where like Southern idioms, but they were real. They weren't made up. They existed. They're still used. I myself say that dog won't hunt on occasion. And if you don't know what that dog won't hunt, that just means that you're telling somebody that you think that they're lying to you. You're like, that dog won't hunt, boy. Or you can tell them that they're telling lies out of church. Right? That one's kind of a double entendre. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of this blue section. I don't like it. So we're gonna use the Control-C here and add that to the waste bin. There we go. And then I'm gonna replace it with this yellow because I'm feeling the yellow more. It's like little bushes, little fiery. I don't know if y'all have this wherever you're from. Again, from the South. So in the fall, when the milkweed and other long stem grasses start to bloom and release their death toxins upon us all, killing everyone that has asthma. Anyway, there are these wild grasses that have these beautiful yellow tops, and they just burst in the sunlight. It's very pretty. Some of you don't get it in urban landscapes unless it's like an abandoned lot or something, but where I grew up in the sticks of Northwest Alabama, it ain't nothing but nature. We have very little industry, so we got a lot of woodlands, a lot of pasture land. So if you want to go for a hike, you ain't messing with nobody. You can kind of go wherever you want to, and you'll see all kinds of weird little places. Because where I lived, I don't live there now, but where I grew up was in the fall line, the Appalachian fall line. So it's a lot of hills, cliffs, and eroded ancient rocks. So caves, you literally can't go more than, I would say, a few hundred yards without running into a cliff face of some sort, which makes for some really great exploration when you're a kid, which we did almost constantly. I have a older brother, and I had a younger sister who's now deceased. But my older brother and I, like most kids in the 80s, were just turned loose during the day, told not to come back until sunset. So we just did whatever, like full autonomy as children. It was insane. No one should let their children just run wild. But that's what we did. And a lot of the latchkey kids from the 80s did. You know, everybody makes it seem like the world is such a dangerous place nowadays, but in a lot of ways it's much, much safer than it was back then. So if you want to set your kids loose, your choice. You know, there's a lot of Karens in the world now, so I'm sure somebody will have something to say. A million comments on the internet. Of course, you know, if you do choose to do that, you could always turn that internet loathing into infamy, because infamy in this day and age is just as profitable as fame. So if you're a Jake Paul fan, I welcome you aboard. I don't think you're going to enjoy this very much. Not the biggest fan of him, but I also don't dislike him. I just don't watch him, because to me, you should only be investing in those things that bring value to you. And I don't feel like he brings any value to me personally. I understand that he brings value to a lot of people, and you know, that's different cup of tea, not for me. Same with Mr. Beast and those other YouTubers. Not really interested in their shenanigans. I prefer more mellow. Actually, no, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna lie. I do have some mellow YouTubers. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, the previously mentioned Atomic Shrimp is probably about as mellow as you can get. But I got my fun YouTubers also. There's this guy named Sandro that used to be on, well, he still is, I guess, Donut and Real Mechanics Says, or whatever the hell it is. Anyway, a Latino dude from Los Angeles. Super funny, just naturally funny. So I watch him a lot. I don't know why I'm talking about the YouTubers I watch. Maybe I'm just trying to give you all an idea, because a lot of people draw conclusions about people based on the media that they consume, especially nowadays with superhero stuff and everything. So if you do draw conclusions about people based on the media that they watch, that's the type of shit I watch. So I like authenticity personally. Like, just if I watch somebody and I think to myself, okay, that dude's real, or that girl's real. Like, what they're saying is what they think. Like, that authenticity is what interests me. Like, I'm not gonna assume they're a good person just because of it, right? Like, it's the internet, and you're recording, so you have the ability to edit. Like, same with me. Like, I'm not gonna curse on here, but in real life, I curse quite a bit. So that editing of myself is gonna give somebody a false impression of who I am. Because if you're the type of person that judges people for the language that they use, and you think that cursing is ignorant, and you never hear me curse in any of my videos, you're gonna assume that, hey, this dude's just like me. He hates cursing too, which I don't. I'm an educated fool. I studied language, the English language specifically, and I still choose to use the easy ones, man. The ones that have a million meanings, but everybody knows it, and it just gives you a guttural feeling to use it. What is happening here? I'll tilt this again so you can see the mess that I'm making here. I'm kind of digging it though, so I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna throw a little bit more color in here though, because I'm getting bored. Again, I think I'll use a bigger brush to just speed this process along. Plus, we're getting closer to the foreground, so I want things to appear a little bit bigger. And so I'm gonna get a bigger brush so that things will look bigger, because I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy with a big boy brush, and I'm just throwing shit down, not even paying attention really to anything other than these little slap sounds. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but there's a little rattle, because this is obviously not flat. It's a little warped. It's been in the closet for a while. You know what? I don't like that. Let me erase that. I don't like that at all. I'm gonna erase all this. All right, now what do I want over there? Come on, dude. Think. All right, I got the yellow. I got this red. Let me make some here. A little bit. That's ugly. It's like mixing ketchup and mustard. There we go. Now we got our delicacy here. We'll just throw in some little things here. We're getting just a little bit bigger with each one of these. I'm just trying to, I've decided to make this some flowers, obviously. Yeah, it's looking nice. Need some big, yeah, that'll work. God, it's an ugly color. Let's see. Let's get back with this red. See if we can't make that look prettier. What if we did banding of some sort? Because we got this coming down. I'm fucking that up. All right, let's go back with some white. I know what it will do. The old Bob Ross solution. Back to Bob Ross. When in doubt, cover it up. with a big ass bush. So we'll just tap one in here. There we go. A little darker. All right. And then come back on. Actually, I want that a little lighter now. All right, let me take a look at this from above. Oh yeah, I'll take you there. That's a little bit better. We're getting somewhere. I think I'm gonna drop something heavy in here in this corner. I mean, actually, it'll go. Let me take a look at that. Like this. Let's get this done. I loaded that brush up way too heavily. Dang, that blue sticks out. All right, let's really get this. All right, a little flat, but we can fix that. We can fix that for sure. All right, grab this thing. There we go. And then brass. And all right, I realize that I'm not seeing a lot here. And it's because I hate this corner. I really don't like it. And so I'm going to do something about that now. You say, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Well, another famous Bob Ross technique is to just throw some darks down and then take that same color, lighten it up just a little bit, and we just turn that into some sort of structure, a rock of some sort. And to do that, all you have to really do is just think of plain faces on the rock. So like everywhere the light is going to be one face, and so you just create some change in direction. It'll make it look like the light's coming from a different direction. And you can turn probably just about anything into a rock doing that. And you can play with it as much as you want to. Just try different angles, see what. Personally, I'm going to bring that down and that down, and now we got an interesting little rock there in the corner. Let's see if you can see that. Oh, so shiny, but kind of. So you say, what the hell am I looking at? My answer to you is whatever it is you see, bro. That's what art really is anyway. It's just some person making something for their own time waste, and then either they come up with a cute backstory, like, oh, this is about the fundamental nature of man, or you see it hanging in a museum somewhere, and you just apply some sort of meaning to it. And now I'm just dropping in a cloud because I felt like the sky was a little bare, and yeah, I know there's some color in there. A little green, but that's okay. It'll just make the cloud a little yellow. And the great thing about clouds is you literally cannot mess with clouds. Some people would say, oh, that doesn't look like cloud. Honestly, I have seen some of the most bizarre clouds. So I've seen straight clouds, rounded clouds, clouds that look like animals, clouds that were purple, clouds that were yellow, clouds that were brown. Like, honestly, you can't mess up a cloud. Because if you put it on to your sky, it has occurred somewhere in some form or fashion. So never worry about messing up a cloud. That's my advice to you, because again, it is impossible. And I know I'm like throwing down a lot of color here, but again, I got that flow medium, so I can just go back and just kind of work it in and create just some little ethereal light shapes, and they will appear as clouds. Because like I said, I've seen them all, man. The other day it was about to storm, and all day from sun up to sundown, it was a little overcast, and I swear to you, at one point the entire sky was lavender, which, I mean, I'm sure I've seen it before, but I couldn't recall at that moment having ever seen it. And if the whole sky can be lavender, I just don't see how you can mess with a cloud. Now, Bob Ross would tell you to pull these up. Personally, I feel like not every sky has an updraft. Some of them have a downdraft. I've seen clouds do this thing. Like sometimes when it's raining off in the distance, you'll see what looks like just a little bit of the cloud falling. I have no problem replicating that here. Again. See how that looks from a distance. Not my favorite, but everything can be fixed with a little bit more white. Let me just grab some white and toss it, and we'll put some there too. Because why the hell not? Some on this side. That one, climb. Yeah, there we go. It's that Columbia cloud there. There we go. A little bit more shape there. There we go. Perfect. And I kind of like that one. I'm just going to give him life a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And what else do we... I'm going to hit these edges. Let's see, we're coming from that side. I'm just going to ever so lightly hit these edges just to make it a little bit more interesting. Again, this is just me. If you don't want to do that part, do you feel like it'll make this a little bit more interesting if this breaks these it some form, give it some shape. It's a little flat. Again, changing directions makes it look like stone of some sort. Elevation change. Remember, leave just a little bit of the shadow on the backside to give it some depth. And then we'll just start bringing them out. There we go. Perfect. Ew, getting it everywhere. That's part of the process too. Just getting messy, being dirty. Getting dirty. Makes you feel like you did something if you get messy. So get out there, change the headlight bulb in your car if you ever want to feel like a man. Something simple, something to get your hands dirty. It'll make you feel like you accomplished something. It really will. Bring that straight down. There we go. Nice. One more here. I think that's good. I like that. I like that a lot. There we go. Just like that, we've made that a little bit more interesting. It was kind of flat to begin with, but now it's got some depth, got some shape to it. Yeah. Kind of do that over here too. I want to push that one all the way back. Kind of like this dark spot right here. Makes it look like something interesting's happening. A little bit there. In my head, this one's a little way further back, so I don't want it to add too much yellow. That green spot got away from me though. There we go. Perfect. See, now it looks like there's a little cliff or something. Same here. Just the gentlest amount. Bring that forward. Just bring that in front of us. Connect those two together. There we go. And now, pop that one forward. Got a little bit of red in there, but it's not too concerning. So that's our tippy top. Dull this out a little bit. And then grab some of this and bring it down. Give this a little bit more shape. It's getting away from us. Well, it's getting away from me. Pure yellow. There we go. Okay. And I need that to be just a little bit darker. Right there, here. There we go. Now we're working with some. It's going to cast a bit of a shadow. There we go. That looks more like some later rock or something. Okay. Pardon me while I take a look at it myself. I need something right here. We're going to go back to that good old Bob Ross rock technique. We're going to throw one in right through here. We're going heavy black because I'm going to use some of that existing red. And we're going to work that thing out there. Come up there. Perfect. All right, so just going to push that little green thing, whatever it's supposed to be, tree, bush, whatever, and give it another plane right there, and another one there. Round it a little bit, weathering. All right, now we got the base in. Let's go put some color on them. Color, we do that one? Kind of brownish. So we'll come back here and all the way across. And that's one there, and then a little one there, and then I want another one here. Yeah, see, I did not commit to that one, so I'm gonna go back and commit. There we go. That's better. All right. Now to make it into a rock, we just pull those colors at different planes, and that'll create those elevation changes. I like that one. I'll bring that down. I like that dark spot. Bring this straight, and then kind of curve that one too. Let's put a little highlight on that plane there. There we go. And then that's a little too bright for my taste. So now we'll pull it, take away some of that angle. There we go. And just those flowers are right there. I'm just gonna go darker. If I can get that light to stick. There we go. Just so it doesn't eat that flower up. And just like that, I think, let me bang that top a little bit harder. Come on. There we go. Just to get it off that green a little bit. All right, how's that? I'm gonna let it dry, and then I'll let you see what it looks like once it's dry. So let me pause this. Okay, I let it dry a little bit. It's still a little wet. You can tell because it's got some raised spots with acrylics. They'll flatten out as it dries. There's some good things going on. We got some good stuff. I got some good stuff. And if you would care to look, I'm sure yours better. But some mottled spots that I don't like. So should have matched the color of that rock to that rock, obviously. I do like this texture on the hill, though. Next time I may bring the hill in front of all of this and then build that on top of it. That would be a better way to do this. Changed my mind about this little downspout. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. Wish I hadn't done it. But it's there, and once this fully dries, this can be covered up with something else. So not a big deal. Overall, though, had fun. I like the little flowers here. I think that's nice. Might have gone a little oranger, but that is a more natural color, right? This is terrible. This should never be done. Do not do this. But this is okay. This could be fixed easily. For just kicking around, throwing down some color, not bad. It's the first Bob Ross I've done in a long time. Bob Ross, again, just using some of his techniques, not all of them. If you'd like to see that, just let me know, because I can do a full Bob Ross. Like, we can do some mountains or something. They're not going to be white and gray. It's not how I roll. I think the last mountain I did was orange and blue. So if you want to see something like that, just let me know. If you want to hear more thoughts on Bob Ross, more thoughts on terrible YouTubers, great YouTubers, media in general, politics. I'm trying to think of the things that I'm somewhat knowledgeable in. That's about it. Yeah, I'm not the brightest fella. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you did better than this. I hope you lovely people have a lovely evening. Thank you for joining me. Goodbye.